Welcome to the Heartbreak Chronicles, where every story is a raw reflection of life. Hit that subscribe button to stay tuned, give us a like to show your support, and share this episode with your friends. Don't forget to leave a comment and let us know what you think. Now, let's dive into today's story. My name is Ethan and I am a successful construction engineer. I always thought I had a happy and fulfilling family until that fateful night. That night, I stumbled upon some strange text messages on my wife Sophia's cell phone. At first, I didn't think much of it, but my inner turmoil drove me to investigate further. I hired a private investigator, and I was devastated. Sophia has been in relationships with multiple lovers for the past 5 years. My world instantly collapsed. We have been married for 10 years and have 2 lovely children. I can't believe Sophia would betray our family. I felt anger, pain, confusion, and a rush of all the negative emotions. I decided to consult my friend Noah, who is a lawyer. Noah suggested that I continue to gather evidence because California is a community property state, and the judge will consider the behavior of both parties when awarding custody. Ethan, I know you're in a lot of pain right now, but you have to calm down. Noah told me seriously. You need to be careful for your future and the future of your children. Keep gathering evidence, but don't spook them. I nodded, though I was still turning inside out. Noah's words reminded me that I can't let my emotions sway my sanity. I have to stay calm for the sake of the children. Over the next few weeks, I tried to act as if nothing had happened and went on with our daily lives. But whenever I see Sophia's smile, I feel a tingle. That smile that used to make my heart sing now feels so foreign to me. Work became my escape from reality. I started to get more involved in the project, often working late. In the office, I met Emma, the new architect at the firm. Emma is smart, funny, and very understanding. We became fast friends and often had lunch together to discuss work and life. Emma seemed to sense what was on my mind. One day, she gently asked me, "Ethan, you've been looking tired lately. Is there some kind of difficulty?" I hesitated, then decided to confide in her. When I finished, Emma held my hand, her eyes full of sympathy. "Ethan, I'm so sorry you're going through this." She whispered, "Remember, you are not alone. I'm always here if I need any help." Emma's words warmed my heart. Over the next few days, we grew close. Although neither of us made it clear, I could feel that ambiguity between us, if anything. It was at this point that Sophia offered to go to New Orleans for a week-long real estate conference. This would have been fine, but the problem was that we had already planned to take the kids on a vacation to Yellowstone. "Ethan, this meeting is important to my career," Sophia pleaded. "I promise to make it up to you and the kids." I looked into her eyes and suddenly realized I didn't recognize the woman in front of me anymore. There was a time when family was the most important thing to her. Now, she can easily give up time with her family. "Well," I said calmly, "you go to your meeting. I'll take the kids to Yellowstone." Sophia gave a delighted smile, but it was a smile that sent a wave of nausea through me. She didn't even notice the indifference in my tone. After Sophia left, I worked up the courage to invite Emma and her kids to join us in Yellowstone. Surprisingly, Emma readily accepted. "That's great, Ethan," exclaimed Emma. "The kids will have a blast." And so it was that I set out on a trip to Yellowstone with my own 2 children, Emma and her set of children. This trip became a turning point in my life. Watching the children play happily in nature and listening to Emma's bright laughter made me feel more relaxed and happy than I have felt in years. Emma tenderly cared for all the children as if they were her own. One night, after the kids were asleep, Emma and I sat around the campfire and talked. Emma's eyes twinkled tenderly in the moonlight. "Ethan," she said softly, "I'm really glad to see you smiling so much." I looked at Emma and suddenly realized I was falling in love. But at the same time, I felt an intense pang of guilt. I'm not divorced from Sophia. I shouldn't feel this way. Just the day before we were due to go home, Sophia called with a hint of nervousness in her voice. "Ethan, I have something to tell you," she said. "I'm pregnant." The news hit me like a hammer. We haven't been intimate for a long time. How can this baby be mine? "How long?" I asked, holding back my anger. "About 2 months," Sophia replied. I close my eyes and take a deep breath. We did have a drunken, intimate encounter 2 months ago. However, Given Sophia's history of cheating, I am extremely skeptical about the paternity of this child. We'll talk about it when we get back. I said coldly and hung up. When I turn around, I find Emma looking at me worriedly. I barely managed to squeeze out a smile, but I knew that a huge storm was about to hit my life. After returning from Yellowstone, my life fell into an eerie calm. Sophia's belly is getting bigger every day, and I feel like I'm getting farther and farther away from her. We still live under the same roof, but have become two worlds apart. Every night, I had to force myself to lie next to Sophia and listen to her talk excitedly about the baby that was on the way. I, on the other hand, can only control myself with all my might not to blurt out that biggest question. Is this really my child? Emma became my only solace. We remained in close contact, but we were both careful not to cross that line. Nonetheless, I could feel her concern and support for me. Ethan, have you considered a paternity test? Emma asked me carefully one day. I sighed, considered it, but I'm afraid to know the truth. What do I do if the baby isn't mine? Emma gently held my hand. No matter what the outcome, you need to face reality. For your own sake and for the sake of the children. I knew Emma was right, but I still couldn't make up my mind. Finally, after a long wait, Sophia entered the delivery room. I stood outside the labor and delivery room with mixed feelings. On the one hand, I was looking forward to the upcoming birth. On the other hand, I was afraid to face the possible truth. Sir, congratulations. The nurse pushed open the door and excitedly told me, it's twins, a boy and a girl. I froze. Twins? That's something we didn't see coming at all. I walked into the delivery room and saw Sophia lying weakly on the bed with two tiny babies in her arms. My heart skipped a beat as I approached. Those two little babies didn't bear a single resemblance to me, either in eyes or nose. I fought back the shock and pain I felt inside and tried to keep a calm expression. I gently picked up one of the babies and felt his warmth and weight. It should have been a happy moment, but my heart hurt like a knife. They're so cute, aren't they? Sophia said tiredly but happily. I could only barely nod because I couldn't believe what I was going to say when I opened my mouth. For the next few days, I took care of Sophia and the twins like a robot. But every time I saw those two little beings, the doubt in my mind grew stronger. I knew that I had to face reality. 2 weeks after the twins were born, I finally worked up the courage to quietly take a paternity test. The days waiting for the results were the longest of my life. Finally, that envelope with the results arrived. I opened it with a shaking hand, and when I saw the results, I felt my whole world fall apart. The DNA test results were clear. The twins were not related to me in any way. I sat paralyzed, tears streaming down my face uncontrollably. Even though I was prepared for this, I felt an overwhelming sense of pain and despair when I was actually confronted with this fact. I don't know how long I sat there until Emma's call brought me back to reality. Ethan, are you okay? Emma's worried voice came from the other end of the line. Emma, my voice choked. The results are in. The children are not mine. There was silence on the other end of the line for a moment. Then Emma said firmly, Ethan, I'll be right over. You shouldn't have to face this alone. Emma's arrival gave me some strength. She listened to me quietly as I poured my heart out and then gave me a long hug. What are you going to do? She asked softly at last. I take a deep breath. I need to talk to Sophia. It's time to end this. That night, I waited until the kids were asleep to talk to Sophia. I put the appraisal in front of her and calmly said, Explain. Sophia glanced at the results and her face instantly turned pale. She opened her mouth to say something, but in the end just broke down and cried. I'm sorry, Ethan. I'm sorry. She kept repeating, I don't know what to do. I looked at her coldly. How about starting with the truth? Who is the father of these children? Sophia sobbed and broke off to tell the truth. As it turns out, at that meeting in New Orleans, she met a business partner. They drank too much and had sex. It was just a one-night stand, I swear. Sophia cried, I never thought I'd get pregnant. I felt a wave of nausea. Then why didn't you tell me the truth? Why did you lie to me and make me think it was my child? I was afraid of losing you and the children. Sophia whispers, I know I was wrong, but please forgive me, Ethan. We can start over. I shook my head, feeling incredibly tired. No, Sophia, you've gone too far this time. Let's end it. I turned away, ignoring Sophia's cries behind me. I knew that from this moment on, my life would change forever. I contacted Noah early the next morning. I told him that I wanted a divorce and that I was going to fight for custody of my two existing children. It's not going to be an easy fight, Ethan. Noah warned me, but I'll do what I can to help you. Over the next few days, I started working on all the things that go into a divorce. I moved to the guest room and only communicate with Sophia when necessary. Looking at the twins filled me with conflicting emotions. I know they're innocent, but every time I see them, I'm reminded of Sophia's betrayal. Emma has been quietly supportive. She helped me with the kids and stayed with me through those hard nights. Gradually, I found myself relying more and more on her presence. Ethan, no matter what happens, I'll be there for you, Emma whispered to me one night. I looked into her eyes and suddenly realized that I might have found my haven in this storm. But I know that I can't, and shouldn't, start a new relationship until I've completely resolved my current issues. Now I am faced with the toughest decision of my life. How do I face this harsh reality? How do I protect my children? How do I rebuild my life? These questions swirled in my mind, and I knew that the next few days were going to be an uphill battle. But no matter what, I have to be strong for my children and for myself. After the divorce proceedings officially began, my life was thrown into chaos. Sophia moved out of our home and into a small apartment with the twins. Watching her back as she packed her bags and left, I had mixed feelings. Even though she had betrayed me, I felt a pang of unspeakable sadness at the end of a 10-year marriage. However, reality doesn't give me much time to be sentimental. I need to reorganize my life and balance work and childcare responsibilities. Fortunately, my company allows me to be more flexible with my work schedule. I started trying to work from home so I could be with my kids after school. Emily and Jack, my two children, looked a little confused by the sudden change. Emily, in particular, often asks me, "Daddy, when is Mommy coming home? Why don't the little babies live with us?" Every time I hear a question like this, my heart hurts like a knife cut. I try to explain it in a way they can understand. Mommy needs some time to take care of the little ones, but she still loves you. We're just living apart for a while. Nonetheless, I could feel the children's unease. I started spending more time with them, taking them to the park and cooking together on weekends. Slowly, we built a new daily routine. Meanwhile, Emma has been my strongest support. Not only does she support me at work, but she often comes to help with childcare. The kids loved her, especially Jack, who was always pestering Emma to tell her stories. One night, after the kids were asleep, Emma and I were sitting in the living room talking. "You know, Ethan," Emma whispered, "I really admire you when I watch you work so hard to create a stable environment for your children." I smiled bitterly. "I'm just doing the best I can. Sometimes I still wonder if I'm doing enough." Emma took my hand. "You're doing great, Ethan. The kids are lucky to have a father like you." It was at that moment that I felt a strong emotion come over me. I looked into Emma's eyes and suddenly realized how much I depended on her, how much I needed her. Our relationship has long transcended that of ordinary coworkers and friends. However, just as our relationship was about to go further, Emma suddenly told me shocking news. "Ethan, I'm pregnant." I froze, not knowing how to react for a moment. Emma continued, "I know the timing is terrible. We're not officially together. You just went through a divorce. But I want the baby." I took a deep breath and tried to clear my mind. Emma is pregnant, which means our relationship will inevitably move to a new stage. But am I ready? Will my kids be okay with it? "Emma," I finally spoke, "I need some time to think. It's not just about the two of us, it's about my children." Emma nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. "I understand, Ethan. Whatever you decide, I'll respect it." Over the next few days, I was in deep thought. I love Emma, there's no doubt about it. But starting a new family means huge responsibilities and changes. I'm not sure I'm ready for this. Meanwhile, Sophia's situation has reached my ears. She is said to have had to accept a low-paying job to make ends meet, and raising the twins on her own has left her exhausted. Even though I was still furious at her betrayal, I felt a twinge of intolerance at seeing her in such a state of disarray. One day when I was picking up Emily and Jack from school, I saw Sophia. She was pushing a stroller and looked exhausted. When she saw me, there was a flash of mixed emotions in her eyes. "Hi, Ethan," she whispered. "How are the kids?" I nodded. "They're fine. Are you okay?" Sophia smiled bitterly, still trying to get used to my new life. "Ethan, I'm so sorry. Everything that has been done for me." I was silent for a moment, then said, "Take care of yourself, Sophia. For the children." I felt a wave of mixed emotions as I watched Sophia's back as she pushed the stroller away. I know that Sophia will always be the mother of my children, no matter how my relationship with Emma develops. I need to learn to make peace with her, for the good of the children. When I got home, I decided to have a frank talk with Emma. "Emma, I take a deep breath. I love you. I want to be with you, and I'm willing to accept the child. But we need to take our time. It takes time for my kids to adjust. It takes time for all of us to adjust." Emma's eyes filled with tears of joy. "Yes, Ethan, I totally understand. We can take our time together and build our family one step at a time." And with that, we began a new life. Instead of living together immediately, we opted for a gradual approach. Emma comes over to my house often and we babysit, cook together, and spend weekends together. Slowly, Emily and Jack begin to accept Emma and even begin to look forward to her arrival. However, life is always full of challenges. One day Emily asked me, "Daddy, is the baby in Emma's tummy our baby brother or sister?" I knelt down and looked Emily flat in the eyes. "Yes, honey, this baby will be your brother or sister. What do you think?" Emily thought for a moment, then asked, "What about Mommy? Is she still our mom?" My heart seized. "Of course, baby. Mom will always be your mom. There may be some changes in our family but Mommy and I will always love you." Looking at Emily's plausible expression, I know there's a long road ahead. I need to balance a new relationship, a baby on the way, and my existing family responsibilities. It's never going to be easy, but I'm sure that with love and patience, we will eventually get through this difficult time. And Sophia, even though we've been separated, but I know she's still trying to rebuild her life. Sometimes, when I see her tired but strong, taking care of the twins, I would feel a twinge of respect. We are all paying for our choices, and we are all working hard for our children. Life hits us hard, but it also gives us the opportunity to start over. As I watched Emma's growing belly and Emily and Jack coming to terms with their new family composition, I knew that despite the hard road ahead, we would eventually have new hope. Time flew by, and before I knew it, my divorce from Sophia was finalized. The court ultimately ruled that I would have primary custody of Emily and Jack, and Sophia would have visitation rights. The result was a relief, but at the same time it made me realize that I had a heavier responsibility on my shoulders. As a construction engineer, I decided to use my expertise to create a loving and cozy home for children. I bought an old house in need of renovation and started working on it. I want this home to be a playground for the kids to grow up in and a starting point for our new life. Emma was involved throughout the remodeling process of the house. Her creativity and aesthetics add so many cozy details to this home. Together we chose wallpaper, picked out furniture, and discussed the layout of each room. In the process, our bond has grown. "Ethan, what color do you think the kids' room should be painted?" Emma asked me one night. Her belly is already very big and our baby could come at any moment. I thought for a moment, maybe light blue? Gives a feeling of serenity. Emma laughed. I was going to say light blue. We really have a heart-to-heart. Looking at Emma's happy smile gave me a warm feeling. I stepped forward and hugged her gently, my palm over her bulging belly, feeling the rhythm of new life inside. "I can't wait to meet this little guy," I whispered. Emma leaned on my shoulder. "Me too. Ethan, do you think Emily and Jack will like this new brother or sister?" I kissed her forehead. "They will. We'll be one big happy family." However, reality is not always what we would like it to be. When the day of Emma's birth arrived, I was on site dealing with an emergency. When I rushed to the hospital, Emma had already been in the labor and delivery room for many hours. I waited anxiously outside the labor and delivery room, my heart filled with mixed emotions. Joy, anticipation, worry, and a touch of guilt. I wasn't there for Emma. Finally, I heard a baby cry. A nurse pushed open the door and said to me with a smile, "Congratulations, a healthy boy?" I rushed into the labor and delivery room as if I were relieved. Emma looked tired, but her face was glowing with happiness. In her arms, she held our newborn, a tiny, wrinkled being. "Hi, little guy," I whispered, picking him up carefully and, "Welcome to the world." We named him Liam, which means strong warrior. I hope he will be as brave as his namesake and face all challenges in life. The next few days were busy caring for our newborn and adjusting to our new home life. Emily and Jack were curious about this new little brother and would come over to look at him from time to time. Emma and I strive to make each child feel loved and valued. However, things don't always go smoothly. The other night, I heard Emily crying in her room. I gently pushed the door open and saw her sitting on the bed with her knees in her arms. "What's wrong, baby?" I asked softly as I sat down next to her. Emily sobbed, "Daddy, do you still love me? Now that you have a new baby?" My heart snapped. I immediately took Emily into my arms. "Of course I love you, honey. You'll always be my baby girl." Having Liam doesn't change that. I spent a long time calming Emily down. Assure her that my love will not diminish because of the changes in my family. This event made me realize that even though we've started a new life, but the emotional needs of children still need more attention. Meanwhile, Sophia is trying to adjust to her new life. She now has a steady job and is raising the twins on her own. Although there are still some hard feelings between us, we try to stay friendly for the sake of our children. One day, when Sophia comes to pick up Emily and Jack, she sees Emma, who is breastfeeding. For a moment, I saw a flash of mixed emotions in Sophia's eyes. "You guys look so happy," Sophia says softly, a hint of emotion in her tone that I can't recognize. I didn't know how to respond, except to nod. Emma, on the other hand, smiled gently. "Thanks. How are the kids?" Sophia forced a smile. "They're fine. Growing up fast." Watching Sophia's back as she left, I felt a wave of mixed emotions. I know she's paying for her mistakes, but I'm also thankful that we're all trying to create the best environment for our kids. Over time, our new family stabilized. Emma became a gentle, strong mother. Not only does he take care of Liam, but he also strives to be a good friend to Emily and Jack. We often cook together, watch movies, go out on picnics, and try to create great family memories. Work-wise, I started taking on more projects, but I always made sure to spend enough time with my family. I want to set an example to my kids that work is important, but family is more important. One night, after all the kids were asleep, Emma and I sat on the swing set in the backyard and looked up at the stars. "Ethan," Emma said softly, "do you ever regret anything about all of this?" I turned my head to look at her and said seriously, "Not at all. Emma, you gave me the courage to start over. This family we have built together is the most precious gift in my life." Emma leaned on my shoulder. "Me too. As tough as it can be at times, I've never been happier." We smiled at each other and then continued to look up at the stars. I know that many more challenges await us in life, but there is no difficulty that we cannot overcome if we join hands and hearts. Looking back on this journey of ups and downs, I am deeply aware of the impermanence and preciousness of life. From a betrayed husband to a single dad to now a member of a happy new family, each step has grown me and made me appreciate the happiness I have in front of me even more. Sophia is also moving forward on her own path in life. Although we are no longer married, we learned how to be better parents. It was comforting to watch Emily and Jack make themselves at home between the two families. They learned that love can take many forms and that family can look different. As for the twins, even though they are not my biological children, I still care about their development. After all, they are Emily and Jack's younger siblings. I hope that one day, when they grow up, they will be able to understand and forgive the faults of the adults. Life gives us second chances, and we cherish each day and try to create memories. I know there will be many more unknowns and challenges ahead, but I am no longer afraid, because I realize that as long as love is there, we can overcome all difficulties. Every night, as I look at my sleeping children and feel the warmth of Emma's company, I am grateful that life has given me such a gift. This reconstructed family, though hard one, is better than I could have imagined. Our story continues, but I'm sure the best chapters are still ahead of us. Because we choose to forgive, we choose to start over, we choose to love unconditionally. This is life, complex and beautiful, challenging and hopeful. And I, Ethan, will continue to work hard to be a good husband, good fathers for a better future for our families. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have a story to share about your own or someone else's experience, please feel free to contact me. Take care.